this past Sunday, we had the World Cup final, World Cup in the fall. Everybody was worried about it being in Qatar, but it turned out to be one of the better World Cups, capped off by probably the best World Cup final that I've seen in my lifetime. Ben, quick takeaways on the World Cup. Were you happy with the Argentina victory? Best
Very,
World Cup final?
very, very happy with the Argentina victory. I think that we were, I mean, I know you were on the Argentina side as well, but I think we were in the minority. Most people had gotten behind Mbappe and France. I had my whole group of buddies was on France. I've no better ending for the GOAT, baby. The greatest of all time, Messi. The debate, I think it's over. It's definitely over the way things have gone with the other guy, Benaldo. Messi, gets the goal that forces overtime or the win, and then they get tied, makes his penalty kick, however. They overcome the Mbappe hat trick. Shout out to Mbappe, great player, young guy to be making a hat trick in the World Cup final. Pretty amazing. But Messi, baby, this is the way it was written. Like some of the boys in the We Talk About Sports chat said, it was written like this for the GOAT, Lionel Messi, and Argentina take down the World Cup 2022. Best World Cup I've seen. I'm only 32 years old, but in my lifetime, best World Cup I've seen.
Yeah, definitely no argument for me there. Best World Cup that I've seen. I had Argentina pre-flop at like plus 550, so I was happy with the result there against France. But quick takeaways for me, Messi definitely solidified himself as the greatest soccer player, at least of our generation, if not all time. Mbappe, next up for sure. I mean, the performance that he put single-handedly, or not single-handedly because it's a team sport, but getting France to that position from being down 2-0, and then the heroics in overtime or extra time, and in penalties. Mbappe definitely the next up. And Argentina, World Cup champions. Now let's get on to the domestic leagues, Premier League time, and everything else. Back to football, American football. One of the craziest endings took place this past weekend between the Raiders and the Pats. They were tied 24-24. Let me repeat that. They were tied 24-24 before the Patriots decided to, do that end of the game lateral play, capped off there with Jacoby Myers throwing it to Chandler Jones, pictured there, celebrating in our little recap here. Not quite Belichickian. This team is usually coached up, not very like these Patriots teams that we're used to seeing. Are the Patriots dead in the water after this loss, sitting 7-7?
I mean, we talking about sports. Sure hope so for preseason futures. We took them under 8.5 wins, I believe we had. So yes, that was good for that. But everything else about it, so many questions. How is Jacoby Myers still on the football team? Today, Monday, knowing that Bill Belichick is his coach. Probably the biggest bonehead play that I've ever seen. If you were on the Patriots, I mean, this is an all-time bad beat. This is one that this is a shot heard around the world. I mean, all-time bad. How is there not an investigation for point shaving against Jacoby Myers if he still has a job? That was insane. One of the craziest sports things I have ever seen. I mean, you do this play if you're losing the game. It's a tie game. What's so bad about overtime? This was pathetic. And then the way my boy Mac Jones just gets stiff-armed to the crowd. Oh, my God. This was horrible. Horrible for the Patriots.
The stiff arm was crazy. Definitely, Mac Jones did not do himself any favors. Not going to question his effort, but definitely did not look good on that one. And the Patriots, I mean, the only thing that I can think of is J.R. Smith in the finals with the Cavs. It's the only other play that I can think of, albeit that was in the finals what J.R. Smith did. Pretty egregious, running the other way. Didn't know the score of the game. Jacoby Myers obviously blanked out here. Patriots, not looking good for them. Raiders season, it's pretty much, what could have been for these guys. Not really anything for them to get off this victory, but definitely a crazy ending. Definitely swung a lot of bets. A lot of money swung with that last lateral play. Cowboys, we made the lineup again, Ben, and we're here with another topic. They clinched a playoff berth despite losing to the Jags. They were up 27-10 at one point before Trevor Lawrence decided to, show everybody why he was drafted number 1 last year. Continuing, his ascension to becoming one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Caps off a great comeback, him and Zay Jones put on for the put on for fantasy owners around the world yesterday. Your thoughts on the Cowboys? Panic meter 1 through 10 for the Cowboys?
I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record because we sound like one of these first take or get up in the morning with the Cowboys on every time. Albeit this very deserving the way that the Jaguars came back. I mean, it's pretty typical Cowboys. I think even as a fan, you would say like, fuck around, get lazy. I mean, look at what they dodged last week with the Texans. The Jaguars are a step above the Texans. You did the same thing. You fucked around. You found out. I mean, the Jags offense looks pretty good. Trevor Lawrence looking like that franchise QB. For the Cowboys, I think the bigger issues are losing some players, losing some guys on the O-line. Dalton Schultz had a horrible game. We know he's always injured. I'm not speculating or anything, but hey, he did horrible this week. So, Dak throwing 2 picks again. I mean, when are we going to stop giving this guy, breaks and excuses? Yes, the record is good, but it's okay. The record is good, but if you want to be talked about as contenders and serious, is it a contender or pretender? The Cowboys are kind of showing more and more why they are or have been pretenders for the most part with this exact same nucleus of players.
Great teams find ways to, finish this victory and not give up that lead. They might, get down in the game after giving up a big lead, but the real contenders will, pretty much find a way to win that game there at the end that the Cowboys blew. And so that's why for me, this loss for me kind of solidified that the Cowboys are just a notch below the Eagles and the 49ers of the world, still not ready to make them favorites to win the NFC. And I say that even with Brock Purdy at quarterback for the 49ers. I just like the way that team's put together and their coaching. And, it just comes down to, situational football. We talk about it on the podcast all the time. So it comes down to being able to stop the nosebleed, right? Being able to stop the bleed before it gets out of control. So Cowboys definitely giving me some signs of worry here, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Secondary has always been one of those, hit or miss kind of things, led by Trayvon Diggs, either coming away with the interception or getting burned for a 70-yard touchdown. There's no in between with these guys, and that might end up being what does us in at the end of the year. Don't want to be a reactionary guy because I was the guy that jumped off the bandwagon as soon as I heard Dak was going to the IR week 2. So I don't want to be too reactionary. But my biggest takeaway is that the Cowboys are just a notch below the Eagles and the 49ers in the NFC. Any other takes?
They said Jalen Hurts kind of questionable coming into this week against you all, a Christmas Eve game. We could already hear it. You beat Minshew Mania, and y'all are going to start feeling yourselves again. We'll be talking about this next week. Hey, everybody have a Merry Christmas. Yes, thank you for pulling up to the shop. That's it for me.
Merry Christmas. Like Ben said last time, we're in and we're out. Peace.